and welcome back to our Ask the Agronomist video series. I am Phil Long, Precision Agronomy Advisor with Latham High-Tech Seeds. And this week, as we're looking at commodity prices still on the rise, I want to talk about my top 3 considerations on the soybean side going into 2022. So what's at the top of my list? Well, the first thing I think about obviously is planting. So the planting situation or planting conditions. So thinking back to last year, we were dry in a lot of Latham Country, and we did a lot of fall tillage, especially on the corn side. So keeping that in mind and how that impacts the moisture availability and just variability in the soil at the planting depth, wanting to make sure that you're getting those soybeans in there at least an inch, inch and a half deep into moisture. And it seems usually they come after corn in many cases or get planted after corn, so making sure that you're digging and finding moisture and seeing where that moisture line is. Soybeans can handle easily up to 2 inches or so in terms of depth, so don't get too excited until you have to push them further than that, but it's more important to get them into moisture because they have to imbibe at least 50% of their own weight in water just to start the germination process. So getting them in there into moisture and making sure that the temperature is on the rise. So 50, 55 degrees and increasing. That way they don't have to deal with a lot of diseases right off the bat and struggle coming out of the ground. The next thing that I would consider is weeds. And by weeds, I mean primarily take care of the weeds early and when they're small. And this has been something we've struggled the last several years. And we've also seen the weed bank increase. We've had soybeans not canopying in 30-inch rows, and so weeds have come up through that and went to seed, and we've increased in many cases. A lot of areas I drove, that weed seed bank has continued to build up. So whatever your troublesome weed is, in our area it's water hemp, but whatever that troublesome weed is, if it's continuing to build in your area, make sure you get ahead of that. Even if you don't have the herbicide of choice, getting out there earlier, get it when those weeds are smaller. If you have something like cover crops, I know a lot of farmers out there are using cover crops. Use those to your advantage. Let them grow a little taller. The soybeans can handle that challenge. So let them grow a little taller and then plant into them, and you may not need to put any residual down, and just make sure you really monitor them as they get into the early post situation. The last thing that I'd say in terms of management considerations for 2022 is SCN, Soybean Cyst Nematode. And that's primarily because we've really seen this increase the last couple of years, unfortunately in a bad way, and that's the number of races that are resistant to our varieties is increasing. Mother Nature is figuring things out. The last really 20 years we've seen that go increasing, but really when we were controlling them well, we saw over 80% suppression in terms of egg numbers out there. Well, now that's not the case, and we're continuing to see SCN fight their way around our resistant cultivars, which really is our best mode of attack against SCN, that and rotation. So make sure you consider that rotation, trying to get at least a year in there away from soybeans to help that out, and really picking those soybean varieties and changing, especially even from 2 years ago, making sure that you have that plan and you're changing those varieties up to get different resistance in there, because they do get different levels of resistance. Even if there's still just a PI 788 resistance gene in there, they can have different levels. So keep all those things in mind going into 2022, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at 1-800-GO-LATHAMS or visit us on our website at lathamseeds.com. Thanks for watching this week's Ask the Agronomist.